Hello, hello, and welcome to Bla Bla Black Sheep, a weekly yarny podcast where I, Sarah Korth of SEK Handmade, answer your yarny questions. Welcome, you guys. Last week, one of my lovely friends said, "Oh my gosh, Sarah, episode 46, you're almost to a whole year." And I was like, oh gosh. You would think I would notice these things, but I hadn't. And so I was like, we should do something fun, right? So I would love to know what fun thing you would be interested in doing for the 52nd episode. We're just going to call 52 a year. It's not exactly going to be a year to date because I missed a couple episodes because of my mom being sick and passing away this summer. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and look to see exactly when episode 1 was. I do remember it was in March because I remember thinking, oh, like hemming and hawing for the whole month of February. Oh, I'd really like to start a podcast. Oh, but I should really start it at the beginning of the year. And it's February. And then I was like, that's stupid. If I wait to start everything, like if I wait until January to start everything, I would never do anything. Mostly because in January, I'm too exhausted to start anything. After the holidays and traveling, and we have 2 birthdays in December, when January rolls around, I'm like, I would like to go into a cave, become a bear, hibernate for at least a month. So far, no one said, like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Anyways, I am so glad you are here. Thank you for joining me today. Guys, I told you last week that it was coming, and I'm so thrilled that it's here. I'm going to wear my Lumi shawl today. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all those colors. You know, I love color. It's still coming. Still coming. This is harder than I thought it would be. And there she is. I love it. I love it. It is so big and colorful and gorgeousness. I love the stitch pattern. Let me show you in a lighter color. Yep, that's the front. I love the stitch pattern. Look at that, you guys. I just really love it. And the process was long, partly because of me having to do other things before I could actually start it, partly because I hemmed and hawed for quite a while about the actual stitch pattern. You can listen to the whole story on the introduction video, which I will link below if you want to check it out. And so I get to wear it now. I wore it yesterday to a class I was teaching, and I just love it. So let's talk about how I'm going to wear it today. This is an oldie but a goodie to me, but maybe it'll be new to you, and it's like a fun literal twist on a classic. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your shawl. One of the things I love about rectangle shawls is that they can be worn a lot like a scarf, which is just lovely. So you're going to fold it in half. You're going to wrap it around your neck, and you've got this loop here. You're going to take one side. I think I'm going to choose to take the yellow side and put that on the bottom because I like blues more than I like yellow, so I want that to stand out. So first thing I'm going to do is just slide the yellow side through the loop. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put the blue side over the top and under the bottom. And then look how it's just like it's woven together and really like shows off everything. And you can like zhuzh it to be, to kind of spread things out so you can see all the things. And then you don't see the back of your neck, but other people do when they're standing behind you in line and whatnot. So there you go. Look at all those beautiful colors. Yay! All right. This yarn is by Knitted Wit. I'm trying to think if I've made other things from her yarn. I have 4 more full skeins of her yarn. Oh, no, no. I only have 3 because I used one of them for this. I'm going to have to go buy another hank of that colorway. I have 3 more skeins of her yarn that I should really make into something. But now 2 of them don't, they don't even go together because there was a mistake. I asked Sarah, my local yarn shop owner, when we were very first getting to know each other, if she would order me, like as she put in her order for Knitted Wit, would she make sure that she got these couple skeins that I really wanted together. And in some form or fashion, there was a little miscommunication. And so she got me this the beautiful deep eggplanty purple that's in here. And then I wanted like a hot pink. Actually, this hot pink. And whatever the miscommunication was, she got me like a raspberry pink, which is very pretty. But like I had a very distinct vision that I clearly dove right into, since the hot pink is still sitting in my stash and I used the purple for this. Ugh. So I ended up getting a really pretty olivey color that went with the kind of raspberry pink. And so then I have now I have a hot pink and a raspberry pink, which I probably won't put together in a project, and an olivey green. So, but I really enjoy her yarn. It's very bold and pretty. She has some speckled stuff. I don't think my local yarn shop carries her speckly ones. They carry more of her solids, I think. And so that's what I've gravitated towards. I'm seeing now that this is twisted backwards. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, and so that's what I have. But I do highly recommend her yarn. It works up really nicely. For a project with so many colors in it, my number one fear was that I would block it and it would bleed, and then I would be sad. Because I would be sad. But, ooh, little fuzz in my mouth. I put it in the blocking bath and I left it in there. I did not agitate a bunch. And when I went back to it, I was really very impressed. Minimal color, minimal dye in the water, so minimal dye washed out. And then it didn't bleed at all to anything. So I just, like, when I saw there was some dye in the water, I carefully pulled my plug and just let everything drain out without, mixing it around. Not that the shawl would have picked up the dye in like the 10 seconds between me mixing it and pulling the plug, but whatever. So it didn't bleed, and that was wonderful. Long story short, highly recommend Knitted Wit's yarn. It will be, link will be in the description below. What is bringing me joy? Not only is my shawl that I can wear out and about now that it's out in the world bringing me joy, but you guys, I just finished up teaching a Learn to Crochet class. I always said I never wanted to teach Learn to Crochet, but it turns out that, at least in my area, that's what people want to know. And so I teach a lot of Learn to Crochet. And it's always an adventure, which is part of the thing that I don't love about it. Like, I never know who's going to show up. I never know what experience they're going to have. I never know, like, what's the mix of people going to be like. Are people going to be, excited for a new adventure, or are they going to be really grumpy when things don't work out exactly the way they want? It's just always a mixed bag. You just never know. But this group was just a hoot. They were like the perfect mix of like some people had enough knowledge that they could help each other, but also their personalities were great, so they did help each other out. I mean, when you have a class of 10 people, like we did, 10 or 11, no, 11 people is what we started out with. Like that's a lot of people for me to get around to individually if they aren't willing to like chat with each other and be like, yeah, I think that's right, or no, I remember it different. Even if they don't know how to fix the problem, but just to be able to say like, that looks different than mine. And then I can come over and be like, that's because of this and this. And then they both can go forward, you know. Anyways, they were a hoot. They had great senses of humor. They all interacted really nicely with each other. We have 2 tables that they sit at in the classroom at my local yarn shop. And sometimes you get like 1 table and 1 table, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. But this group was just like the whole class just like laughed and made jokes and like teased each other a little bit, all like in good fun. It was a blast. Supported each other. One of the ladies finished her, we make a headband, finished her headband and she was like, I don't know. And they were like, try wearing it this way. And so she changed it. It was super cute. And then somebody else, so I also say it could be a cowl because I know not everybody's a headband person. And so she put it on as a cowl and she's like, I think I like this better. And everybody's like, yeah, it looks great. So it was just so much fun. It was so much fun. Very low stress, lots of laughter, which is always great. So I hope that something has brought you joy this week. I find that it's just a really good practice for me to notice those things that bring me joy, because the more I practice the noticing, the more I notice all the little things, and the more positive I am about life in general. Life is not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I am not a Pollyanna, everything will be great. I've been criticized in the past for being real, that I should just be positive all the time. That's not real life. It's not real life. Sometimes your kids sleep in and then act like it's your fault that they're late for school. I'm not saying that happened today. I'm just saying it could happen. It totally happened today. I was so annoyed. So I would love to know if there's something that's bringing you joy, especially if it's something we all could take part in. Like if there's like something funny, like an account you follow that has like all these great videos that are funny, or you bought some hand-dyed yarn that you just think is gorgeous, or you have a jewelry maker, or oh my gosh, project bag maker. I'm like, pattern bag? That's not the word. Project bag maker that you love. Drop them in the comments. Let's share the love and share the joy. Speaking of other small businesses, let's talk small businesses. My mug that I've been drinking out of is a custom mug for my local yarn shop, Casting On. It's by Rin of Cheeky Ceramics. You know, I love them and they do just a great job. My husband bought this for me as a gift. It says, I need a huge amount of yarn, and I'm glad he supports that, because it's true. And I already have a huge amount of yarn. But you guys, did you see my reel or short, or like I posted it in all the places, my tiki-talkie about counting my yarn labels from last year? Sorry, side tangent. I counted my yarn labels from last year, and the little one was like, Mom, you should really, he didn't say it this sassy, you should really think about using some of the yarn on your wall here, because I have like a whole shelving unit. I'm going to say half full of yarn. And so I counted my labels, you guys, 106. And I didn't even count my Advent shawl from last year because I wasn't quite done with it. So those are all going in this year's. 106. So my purchasing may outpace my using. But I do use my yarn. I do. All right. Anyways, my earrings, I'm loving. I bought several pairs from this shop. I think I bought 3 pair. And then she sent me like a bonus pair. I say she, but actually now that I think about it, I've not actually interacted with the shop owner. I don't know if it's a she. It could be a he. It could be a they. I don't know. Anyways, the shop owner sent me another pair, which I was like, oh, fine, I'll wear those. They're snowflakes. They're like out of like a sparkly leather. And then we've not had any snow, and I just have not felt very snowy. It's just been like we have another season. It's called Blah season. It's just dreary. I mean, it has been. It's been dreary a lot, like not a lot of sunshine. And it's been like mid temperatures, like 40s, so not quite cold enough that it snows when we do get precipitation. Anyway, so I haven't worn the snowflake ones because I haven't been feeling the snow, but I love these. I love these for several reasons. Okay, I'm going to take them off and show you real close. So first of all, I love a leather earring because they're lightweight. I love the circle because of all the colors it has in it. It's so fun. They're a little bit muted, the colors, but it's a pretty bold, like it's got some bold teals and purples and yellows. It's totally my colors. And then I don't think you can tell, but this stripe, first of all, love the mixing of the patterns of the dots and the stripe, but this stripe, the black, is also sparkly. It's just so fun. It's like just enough without being too much. You might disagree. I don't. So, I don't know how accurate I ever am with saying the names of these small businesses who who have like names and slightly like different names. So I've said this in my head about 35 ways. It is, I'm going to call it Bealery. Bealery? Bealery. No, it's definitely B, not BL. Bellery. But great news. Here's their logo, and there's a link just right to their whole shop. Like I said, I bought 3 pair. Lots of really cute, fun, lightweight earrings. Not all of them are as bold as this. So if you're like, yeah, Sarah, that's a lot, both in size and in things, they do have some more subtle and smaller ones. And I'll be sharing more of them later because, like I said, I bought 3 pairs. If it ever snows again, maybe I'll wear the snowflake ones that they sent as a fun little extra. So there you go. And then, of course, my yarn that we talked about from Knitted Wit is also a small business. So all the links below. You don't have to hunt them down. If you are like, but those, I want those exactly. I'm not linking directly to them. I'm just linking to the shop. But let me know, and if they're still available in her shop, I can send just you a link to these exact earrings. And we can be twinsies. Okay, let's do some quick announcements. I don't have a ton to say here, so should be quick and easy. My new shawl, the Lumi shawl, is out now. Check out the introduction video. I enjoy doing those and being able to tell the whole story. I told my email, I think, but not you all here. I was talking with some friends and they were like, you really got to do blog posts about your new patterns. And I was like, yeah, except for I really don't like writing blog posts. It just takes me a long time. All that tippy tappy hurts my hands and my wrists. I'd much rather just blabber on about it. And they were like, well, then blabber on about it. Make a video, Sarah. People enjoy knowing like the process and how things came to be. And I was like, okay. And it has been. It's been a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked it out, I would encourage you to check it out. I tell you all the things from start to finish. We talk in detail about the yarns. I list every yarn color I used in here, and I actually list them in the show notes of that video in the order that I used them. So if you are like third color up. I love that one. You can go see if the Knitted Wit still has it. So there you go. I have a new event coming, and you guys, I'm really excited about this new event. I can't stop eventing because I enjoy you guys so much. So in February, which is this month, starting on the 18th, which is coming up quick, I'm going to host an event, and it's going to be called Who Gives a Scrap? And it's going to be all about making scrappy projects to use up some of those bits and bobs of yarns that you have left over. So yeah, we're going to talk about like how to use scraps, how to minimize weaving in ends if you when you're working on a scrappy project, like different ways to turn projects that maybe aren't intended to be scrappy into a scrappy project. It's going to be a lot of fun. Totally free. And it just like, well, kind of just like last time, I'm going to run it on Instagram. I'm going to run it in my Facebook Make Along group. And then I have pulled the trigger, flipped on the light switch to a Discord group. So if Discord is your thing, you can join us over there. Discord is just, somebody said, one of the ladies from Whip Wrap Up said, I thought that was just for video gamers. And it is known for being like a gamer platform, but it's just a way to chat. So it's outside of all of the, frankly for me, glitchiness of my meta platforms, where we can just chit chat and share pictures and links and all of that stuff. Only you get to see everything. So it's going to be fun. It's a good group of ladies over there already, so you can join us there. It'll be great. All right, I think we're ready for some questions. So let's do it. If you have a question, I would love to know what you would like to know. There is a link to a Google form in the show notes below. All you do is click the link. It'll take you to Google Forms. It literally just asks you, like, what's your question? You type in your question, you hit submit. It just keeps it all nice and organized there for me. And so it's really helpful. So if you're ever like, I wonder, or, I don't know about, or I don't understand, let me know. I'd love to answer your question. But for now, I have two other people's questions, and I'm going to answer those. So let's start with question number 1. All right, this is a little bit of a long one, so stick with me. If you've been here with me for past episodes, you know my issue with reading. And so sometimes I struggle reading things on camera. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed. If this is your question and I butcher it, I'm sorry. I'll try my best. Okay. In episode 46 of your podcast, so just the last one, you talked about giving credit to designers. One of the whole questions is about that, and about a little bit of hard feelings going on in the crochet community. I make many blankets from various patterns, and sometimes my own variety of different stitches make up into blankets for donation to Project Linus. So they make a bunch of blankets, they donate them to Project Linus. If you don't know what Project Linus is, I will link it down below. It's a really great organization. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time going into it because you can check out their website, but you can donate. You don't even have to donate full blankets. They also have some patterns of like squares, and then you send those in and other people sew them into full blankets. I typically share with a collage of these blankets on my Facebook and Instagram pages. Should I be giving credit for each blanket? I'll be mortified if I should have been doing this all along. Thank you. Okay, I thought this was a great question because I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. If you listened to last week's podcast and you walked away going, oh my gosh, I've been doing it wrong. No, you have not been doing it wrong, okay? part of the point of that discussion was that people with large platforms, big influencers, and large companies, there is no excuse for them not to be crediting people when they're using their work to promote their own page. But you as an I'm going to say an average user of a pattern, it's not so much something I would say is a requirement, because you're not trying to make money off of your Instagram page or your Facebook page. My guess is that, well, if you're donating the blankets to Project Linus, you're not making any money off of that. So my guess is you're just using it to share with friends and family. What you're up to, what you're doing. Look at this fun, beautiful thing I made, or this month I finished this many blankets to donate. And that is wonderful and magical and fabulous. And don't stop doing that. The worst case scenario here would be is if you stopped sharing what you're doing and what's bringing you joy because you feel pressure to do it right. There's no right and wrong way. If you are purchasing a pattern and making something from that pattern and then sharing it on your social media, if you choose to tag the designer of that project or of that pattern, what I want you to think of it more is as a thank you to them. So let's say that it's me. If it's a blanket, it's not me, because I don't do blankets. If you want to know who I recommend for blankets, then let me know and I'll tell you. Let's say you see the Lumi shawl, you're like, yes, gorgeous. I bought an Advent kit last year, didn't know what to do with it. Making a Lumi shawl. You go, you buy the Lumi shawl pattern, you make the Lumi shawl, you share it on your social media, you don't tag me. That is totally fine. 100% fine. Let's say you buy the pattern, you make your Lumi shawl, you share it on social media, you do tag me. I hop up and down with joy. Makes my day to see your gorgeous work made from my pattern. I feel honored when you choose to take my pattern and create something that brings you joy with it. It makes my day. And so when you make it and then tag me in something, first of all, if your account is private, I can't see it anyways. I can only see public accounts. So if your accounts are private, I'm going to back up. Let's keep going. Let's pretend your account is public. I get to see it. I get to share it. I get to be like, look at this fun, gorgeous thing this fun, gorgeous person made. I get joy out of it. Other people get to see it being made by someone who's not me. They get to see a different color palette. They get to see, like, it's a little bit of social proof for me, right? Like, I can put out a pattern and be like, look at this gorgeous thing I made. But if the pattern isn't such that other people can make it, what does it matter that I can make a gorgeous thing? But when you make it and I can say, look at this thing that this other person made from my pattern, then people can be like, oh, I like their color palette. Oh, I hadn't ever thought about whatever. Or, oh, I thought it might have been too hard for me, but now I see other people making it and I'm going to give it a try. So that's the ways that you're thanking me when you have a public account and you tag me in a pattern. Now, let's say you have a private account. I think you can still tag me. I don't really use my private accounts very much because I spend so much time doing social media for my business that by the time I'm done with that, I'm like, ugh. I mean, I took those pictures, but who has the energy to put them up on Facebook? And I feel really bad about that. But I think if you have a private account and you tag me, the benefit of that is not so much for me, but for other people who happen to be friends with you, who might see a pattern and be like, oh, I want to try that too. So you're just making it easier for your friends to also enjoy that craft. Is there a right or a wrong in doing it or not doing it? No, no. So if it's something you want to start doing, it's not super hard to do. When you're posting, it's a little more finicky on Facebook than Instagram, and the people need to have an account on that platform for you to be able to tag them. So if you want to, I've definitely found, especially with Facebook, not everybody has a Facebook business page. And so let's say I got, not these, I haven't looked them up yet. But let's say I get a pair of earrings and I am posting about them on Facebook publicly on my page. And when I look, they don't have a Facebook page. I can't tag them. I can still say that they're from this place and go check out their earrings on Etsy or whatever, but I can't actually tag them unless they have an account. On Instagram, if they have an account, as you're making your post, one of the options underneath it is tags. I think it just says tags. I don't think it says tag people. I think it just says tags. And then you enter in their Instagram handle. So for me, it would be SEK Handmade. And as you start to type, it'll pop up ideas of who they think you're trying to tag. And then you just click on it and you hit done, and then it'll tag that person. That's the easiest way for me to see a tag because it sends me a notification. You can also just type at SEK Hand, made this pattern from at SEK Handmade, and it'll link to me. But it doesn't send me a notification that way, so I don't always see those. So if that's how you've tagged me in the past and I haven't responded, I try very hard to respond to everyone who tags me because I'm so grateful to see your work. If I haven't responded in the past, that might be why. Those don't notify in the same way. But there's no wrong way to do it. And like I said, if you are not a large business and you're not making money off of this pattern, now I will say, if you are also a small business and you are like making my cup cozies and then selling them, that's a little different. And maybe we'll get into that a different day. So there you go. You haven't been doing it wrong. Keep sharing your blankets. If you would like to if you have public accounts and you'd like the designers to be able to see how much you've enjoyed using their patterns, then you can tag them. Otherwise, not the end of the world. You're not wrong. Don't stop what you're doing. You're doing great things. All right, let's talk question number 2. This is a simple one. It just says, how do you name your patterns? Okay, this is something that I think is really fascinating. Being friends with other designers, it's so fun to chat with people about. I love that some people love naming things and some people are like, if I could just call this pattern 37, I would just call it pattern 37. Which, I mean, you could. Nobody's telling you can't. But I fall into that first camp. I love naming things. I don't know if it's because I was a teacher, but I had kind of an obsession with names. Shocker, I had a lot of opinions about naming our children. I taught in a very large elementary school. I taught between 600 and 800 kids all 8 years I taught. And so I had a lot of name associations and a lot of like, we're not going to go into how I name my kids, but I had a lot of like, I went into teaching the year of the Kaylee. There were like 70 Kayleys in those 800 kids, and they all spelled it differently. And I was a Sarah. There were 7 Sarahs in my kindergarten class. Like, I did not want my kids to have names that like now everybody has them. That was one of my things. But I love naming things, and to me, it's a very emotional thing. So sometimes, and the Lumi shawl was an example of this. Sometimes I think this feels very seasonal or reminds me of light or hope or joy, or I want something that means like waves and ocean. Um, and so I will go search out a name that I love that has that meaning behind it. You can learn about the meaning behind the name Lumi in the introduction video. Um, but then other times, I just name them things. um, I I name a lot of my, I design mostly for women, so I name a lot of my designs female names. I have never gotten to name a living thing a female name. I've had all boy dogs and I have boy children. so so I just name my patterns all the names that girl names that I like. Sometimes I check to see how popular a name is on like Ravelry, because that's my main selling platform. So sometimes if I like a name, I'll type it into Ravelry to see how many other patterns have been named that. But that doesn't necessarily matter. Um, so, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter. But where I gather all these names from, first of all, I keep a list on my phone, which is what I'm recording on right now, which is why I'm pointing at you. On my phone, I have a note, and I just list, I started this like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I just list all the names that I really love. And so I'm always keeping an ear out for a name that I like. So some of them come from books that I read. I read to my little guy. I used to read. I used to read to both of my kids. We're not going to go into that. Um, but I read books to my kids, and so sometimes names come from there. Um, nope, I'm not going to tell that story because I can't remember all of it. I was going to tell about a design that I named after a book character, but now I can't remember the title of the book, so we'll just pass on that. So when I come across something that I really like, I take the name, I put it in my notes app, and I have a whole list. I sometimes no, okay. So I put the names in my notes app, and then when it comes time to name a pattern, if I don't have a specific connection in some other way that I want to use, then I just go to my notes app and I pick the one that is speaking to me at that time, or that I really like, that goes with the pattern. If it's a more unisex pattern, a lot of times I'll pick a more unisex name. If it's a very feminine pattern, I'll pick a more feminine name. And that's what I do. Now, what I was going to say is a couple years back, I think it was maybe, anyway, it doesn't matter. The pattern testers group that I'm a part of started something where for the month of December, they did share your pattern that start with each different letter. And it was fascinating to me. And it still is. We did it again this last year because I was like, I really like that. Can we do it again? So we did it again this year. And it was so much, it's fascinating to me to A, see what people name things, and then B, to see which letters have lots of names and which letters have just a few names. And then I took it as a personal challenge to name some of my patterns, some of those letters that are harder to use. And so I also like that challenge too. So I'm always on the lookout for names, fun, unusual. I like a little quirky, maybe a little more old-timey kind of. Yeah, so that's how I name my patterns. Lots of fun. Thanks for asking. It's fun to share that kind of stuff. So, all right, my friends, I've babbled on for long enough. I appreciate you listening until the end here. Talk to me in the comments. I ask for lots of things. If you have a favorite name, like did you have all girls but you had a boy name picked out, or like a favorite pet name you've ever named? a pet, I'd love to know that too. And I enjoy chatting with you. So leave me a comment below while you're at it if you would like to. I'd love it if you would subscribe, like this video, maybe even share it with a friend. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy crafting!